And so once you come to see that life is a game and that you have been invited into the game, the only logical question from there is, well, then how does the game work? What are the rules of the game? How is this game played? If you're invited into a game and you have no inclination to learn the rules, then how in the world are you expected to play that game? Well, the game is going on regardless of your participation. You're invited to play, but to play will require you to understand the rules and to abide by the rules, to play within the rules. Otherwise, you are excluded from the game. Your first job is to see that it is a game. Secondly, it's to understand that it's a game designed beautifully, that if you were designing a game to make weak people strong, you would design it just this way. Now your job is to understand how the game works. And so there are 5 rules in the game of life. 5 beautiful rules that flow together. And when you understand these rules and sign up to play by them, then you really get an enjoyable experience of the game. Rule number 1, life is unfair. Who told you that life was fair? Who told you that it should be fair? Your sense of injustice and victimhood around the injustices that you feel make no sense when you understand that life is not fair. Have a look around. It is not fair. And by the way, if you really want to weigh the ledger around how injustice has worked for you, you will actually see that you have had far more favour than misfortune. You've just been focusing on the misfortune. So life is not fair. That is not a glitch in the game. That is the game. It's that there is not an equal share of resources. There is not an equal sharing of opportunities. If you are waiting to get what you deserve just because you deserve it, you will be waiting for the rest of your life, and the game will go on without you. Every single human has valid reasons to play the victim card, has had more than one terrible experience of injustice, of misfortune, of an experience they did not deserve, they hadn't earned, it was not justified. Misfortune happened, someone took advantage of them, people behaved in ways that were horrible and unkind and untrue and got away with it. You suffered at the hands of injustice. And yet, the moment you play the victim card, the moment you cash in that victimhood and claim that you are entitled to feel hardly done by, that you are entitled to feel upset, that you would be happier except this has happened to you, and so if someone could understand what had happened to you, then they would understand why it is your life has turned out the way that it has. The moment you use what has happened to you as an excuse for your results, you're disqualified from the game. You must go sit on the bench. It's a trick card. It's a trap. It's a booby prize. So fun when you see it like that. All great games have tricks and traps that gives good players an advantage over novices. A novice plays the victim card because it makes sense. A master sees that it's a trick and would not even dare play it. It makes no sense to play that card because who told you that life was fair? It's not fair. There is nothing fair about life. Rule number 2. Life rewards desire, not deserve. If life is not fair, then waiting for what you deserve makes no sense. All that makes sense now is, what do you want? And what are you prepared to do about it? I love when you see this in nature. You'll see a tree growing out of a roof gutter, or a crack in the pavement, or up through a traffic sign. And you would say, well, that's impossible, you can't grow there. But something about that seed said, but I desire to anyway. If you want to anyway, well then I suppose you can. Every day, someone, somewhere around the world will do something that yesterday was impossible. They will do it solely based on their desire to make it happen. Necessity is the mother of invention. I must find a way, and so I will. That is how the game works. Desire is the economy. It is the thing that is most valuable inside the game. your desire. To desire is human, which is beautiful. You might not know what you want. You might not think you don't want anything, but you are alive. You are connected to life. And so when you listen to your heart, you will find it desires. As William Whitecloud says, most people tragically invest more to protecting their heart than they do to listening to it. But if you're going to win the game, you will have to go back to listening. What do you want? What are you prepared to do about it? Now, when you really listen to your heart and you discover what it is that you desire, the very next thing you will find is obstacles in the way. Blocking the path, things that stand in direct opposition to your desire. You want this, you can't have this, that's impossible. There's no way you can have that. And so that is a confusing element of the game. I thought life rewards desire, but the things that I desire are impossible. I can't have them. Now you understand rule number 3. The obstacle is the way. This is ancient wisdom. Marcus Aurelius was the first to use that phrase, but he didn't invent that idea. He just quantified it and described it. The thing that seems to impede the path, that is the path. The moment you arrive at an obstacle that seems insurmountable, now you've actually just discovered the way. If it got out of the way and there was no obstacle blocking what you want, then you wouldn't actually be able to get what you want. Again, I love when we see this in nature. A caterpillar says to the sky, I'm ready to fly now, I'm ready for my wings. And so, in the next moment, finds themselves entombed in a cocoon. Blocked, resisted. You want wings? Here you go. No, wings. I said I wanted wings, not a prison. And yet the obstacle is the way. Now, if some child comes along and sees this caterpillar wrestling inside the cocoon and out of pity tears the cocoon open, well, even though the wings are forming on that caterpillar inside, the caterpillar will not have developed enough strength to use the wings, and so they will be useless. It is in the struggle to break free that the muscles are built, and so the wings can be used, and flight is now available. The obstacle is the way. The thing that seems to stop you is the thing you must go through. Not around, go through. Rule number 4. All we have is story. When you really examine the obstacle, the thing that stands in the way, it is in the form of story. It is an idea that you decided was true. When you examine the thing most in the way, every time it will be a limiting belief about yourself. You will have, at some point in the past, decided that the truth about you is not good, that you are inadequate. You are less than, there is something wrong, bad, ugly, undesirable, unworthy about you. And that is the thing that is in the way. When you discover that all we have is story, you discover that the thing that blocks you is self-imposed. There is not some external force blocking you, it is all internal. You are the one who accused yourself of being no good. It wasn't your dad who said you were stupid. It's when he said that you agreed with him. You signed off on it. No one had the power to bless you or curse you without your permission. That was you. You set this up. You locked yourself in jail. You were the one that threw away the key. You were the one that said you couldn't have what you wanted. So when you're ready, you are the only one who can change your mind. You are the only one who can remove the obstacle. And it will seem impossible to you because this story has taken on a life of its own and it has become concrete. It seems as though it is true. But when you understand that all we have is story, then you have the way through. It's a work of fiction, and under scrutiny will not survive. So as you go through that story, it will fall apart before your very eyes, and a new way will become open to you. And finally, everything is spiritual. Life is unfair. Life rewards desire, not deserve. The obstacle is the way. All we have is story, and everything is spiritual. Rumi said it best, what you seek is also seeking you. This is a game that is not happening external to you. It's a game that is inside you. You are the game. You are caught up in a cosmic game set up for you to win. It is a loving game. It is a kind game. It is a beautiful game. It is a spiritual game. There are components to this game that cannot be broken down into matter, into material atoms. The game is bigger than the sum of its parts. You'll go looking to quantify this spirituality in well-defined, organized religious stories about this game, and yet the game will be bigger than any one of those stories. To play the game well, you will have to surrender into life itself, to get caught up in the great happening, as Alan Watts describes it. This is the game of life. May you play it well.